Today is Straight Talk Tuesday. I am Julie Withrow, and today I'm going to be talking about finding your niche or niche, no matter how you want to say it, in business, and why that's important to do. And this was prompted by a question I got from someone here who follows the How Smart Women Succeed business page. And it was Joanna, I believe, who posed this question. So you'll see on my board back here that I have a Venn diagram, because I think that this is a good place to start in terms of figuring out what your niche should be. So before I go there, though, let's talk about why you want to have a niche in business. And you know, there are a few reasons. One of the predominant ones is because it comes down to marketing. And if you are marketing broadly and trying to attract people to your business across a broad audience, well, it's more expensive to do that. You know, if you're trying to reach across a lot of different people, you can't really do targeted marketing, right? You're just kind of taking a mass approach. And when you do that, you're going to spend more money to stand out because you have a lot more competitors. The beauty of having a niche is that it makes your focus as a business tighter and tighter, which also makes it easier to really target the specific people who you want to do business with, or your clients or your customers. You know, that's the idea, is that you want to make it easier and more cost effective to really connect with those people. And that's the next piece, is that, you know, there's a saying, and I'm probably going to butcher it a little bit, but it's something along the lines of, you know, if you're everything to everybody, then you are nothing special to nobody, which is a double negative. But the idea behind that is that if you are trying to appeal to everyone, you have a pretty diluted message, and you're not really appealing to anybody within that, because your message is so broad that, you know, your ideal customer, it's not clear, you know, if they're your ideal customer or not. So a good example of this is, you know, would you rather you know, sell clothing, and that's your market, so you can sell to men, women, kids, or if you wanted to narrow it down, you could sell women's clothing. But again, you're competing against so many other people who sell women's clothing, right? So you could narrow it down even more, and maybe you sell women's jeans, okay, women's denim. And if you think about it, that's pretty cool, because a lot of women want to find the perfect pair of jeans, but have a hard time doing it. So if you were to you know, go from clothing to women's denim, say, now you have a much more defined niche. And maybe you could go even more targeted than that. And maybe it's plus size women, or women that have a specific body type, or women in a certain size range, maybe tall women, short women. You see what I mean? The idea is you really want to speak directly to an ideal customer. And the more you can narrow down and get very specific about who that customer is, the more cost effectively you can market to them, and the more you will stand out against your competition, and the more that customer will know that you're for them the minute they find you, because you're speaking so specifically to what it is that their pain point is, or what it is that they're looking for. So that's a good segue to how do you find your niche, right? So we talked about why it's important to have a niche, particularly as a small business, because you're competing against a lot of bigger competitors who have a lot more advertising spend, marketing spend, a lot more resources to build a brand. And even if that's just your personal brand, right, it still behooves you to make your target very small. For example, if you have an online business and you want to advertise on Facebook, again, you know, you want to get that cost per conversion as low as possible. So the more targeted you can get to the right people, the better. And that's the beauty of some of the online marketing methods we have available today, is just how specific you can get in finding your target audience. So it really makes sense from a small business perspective to get very small on who your target customer is. So to segue though to the next piece, it's so how do you find out what your niche is, or how do you choose a niche? And that's where my Venn diagram comes in. So I'm going to stand up here. It might be funny because, you know, I look like all business on the top, but on the bottom, I have on my running tights. So let me see if I can do this and have it all show up. So when it comes to choosing your niche, there are a lot of different ways to do this. And in fact, if you Google this, you'll probably find some other ways to go about it if this particular way doesn't resonate. But this is the way I like to look at it. So a Venn diagram is 3 circles, right? And here's where they intersect. This is where we're going to find your sweet spot or your niche market. The way I like to go about doing this is, and I'll move over here since I'm right-handed, is first start with what your interests are. So your interests. Why is this important? Well, because in business, you're going to be challenged a lot. Okay, running your own small business is not it's not always easy, and there are going to be days where it's really hard, or you're going to feel defeated, right? So you want your business to be something that you have some passion about. So your interests really do matter. Now you'll note they're just one of these circles, but I'd really start with what it is that you're interested in and passionate about, because that is why you went into business for yourself in the first place, right? Is to probably do more work that's meaningful and that you enjoy. So that's the first thing. Second is your skills. So write this down. Now this is taking your interest in a little bit different direction, right? You also have to look at what it is that you're good at, right? What is it that you have experience in? Or what is it that you are qualified to do? And that doesn't always have to be professional experience or specific education or designations or certifications. The truth is, at the end of the day, a lot of us fall back on those things, right? Because we feel like we need them to kind of legitimize who we are and the work we do. But sometimes, honestly, you just know you're really good at something, and maybe you don't have special training in it. Maybe you just have a lot of life training in it, and that is A-okay. Because I can assure you that your clients and customers aren't paying you for the education you have or the number of letters you have behind your name. They're paying you for the results that they believe that you will deliver for them, okay? So you also want to take inventory of your skills, your talents, your experiences, right here. Now the third piece is, this is where we get outside of you and out to your market, is what are others' challenges? So we need to know what other people have a pain point around as it relates to your business, right? What it is that you do. So if you are a marketer, right, like I am, a pain point I know with my clients and my prospective clients is content creation. There is, a lot of pressure to be putting valuable content out there to generate more prospects and to nurture your customers along the buying journey. But creating content consistently is tough. And I talked about that in our last Straight Talk Tuesday. In fact, we talked about it a couple times. But the point is, that's a pain point, among people who I might attract in my business. In my coaching clients, it's generally, women who have started business and they're not making the money they want to make yet, right? So that's their pain point. So in your business, what are the challenges that your prospects have if you're just starting a business, or if you have some clients already? What are the challenges that you see in working with them? So when you inventory these 3 things, the sweet spot is right there. where everything overlaps, okay? And to me, this is where you will find your niche, okay? Now, as I said, there are other ways you can ask these questions. There are other ways that you can evaluate this stuff, but this is a really great place to start. And, you know, it's a really worthwhile exercise to do this because it'll also get you more of a clear inventory of what it is, you know, that you are particularly interested in doing. It will give you a clear inventory of what your skill set is, you know, what it is that you're really good at. And it'll also cause you to do some research to understand, you know, your prospects and customers, clients, what their challenges and pain points are. And all this research is really valuable stuff when you're starting a business or continuing to run a business and trying to refine your marketing and refine your approach. So, hi, Lindsay. I see Lindsay's here. I know there are a couple people here, but Lindsay's the only one I see at the moment. So I'm talking about finding your niche in your business, your specialty, and why it is important. So if you joined late, if you go back to the beginning, once I repost this, you'll see, you know, the talk about why it's important to have a niche. And now I'm talking about how you can start to identify what yours is. So another thing I'll say about others' challenges, as you continue to refine, so this is like layer one, okay? As you continue to refine what your niche is, it isn't just about what other people's challenges and pain points are. You have to think about it a level deeper, and that is, what are the pain points and challenges that they're willing to pay money to solve? And that's a really big one. And it seems obvious probably when I say it that way, but you'd be amazed how many people kind of miss that part. You know, you can have the perfect intersection of your interests, your skills, other person's challenges, you know, right here. But this has to be something that people have enough of a pain point around that they are willing to invest in a solution. And that would be, you know, the solution that you provide. And so how can you really speak to those specific pain points and challenges, okay? So I'm gonna keep today's Straight Talk Tuesday under 15 minutes. That was my goal, and I'm about at 13 minutes right now. So, and I'm trying to make these a little bit more digestible and bite-sized so they're real easy to take away, because I can start to, you know, go really deep or broad on a topic. So I'm gonna keep it very simple. So to recap, right? Why is it important to have a niche or a specialty in your small business? Well, because it allows you to stand out and differentiate yourself from a sea of competition, particularly if there are a lot of other businesses out there doing what it is that you do. This is a way for you to stand out. And it's important to stand out for the obvious reason that it makes it easier, you know, for people to identify you as the resource to solve their problem. Right, so you want to be speaking to specific pain points and challenges so that when your customers do find you, they know exactly that you're the right solution provider for them. And doing this is also important because it allows you to focus your marketing. And if you're competing against, you know, bigger competitors, particularly who have more budget and resources to market, the more specialized you can get, the more competitive you can be in that situation. So the way you go ahead and find your niche or start to identify it is the stuff I talked about here, right? Find that intersection of your interests, your skills and experiences, other people's challenges, and then where they intersect there in the middle is where you'll start to find your niche. And as you look at other people's challenges and you continue to dig down, you want to make sure that these are the kind of challenges that that they're willing to invest some money in solving. It's enough of a pain point that they're willing to invest in a solution to it, and that would be the solution that you provide. So the final piece I want to say about this is when you're doing this, you have to test it. Okay, it's it's not necessarily going to be a slam dunk right out of the gate. Okay, you're going to have to test what you've identified here, and you can survey people who are in your target market. If you think you've found a good niche, a good specialty, well, then start to ask questions of those people to make sure that they have the pain you think they have, that you understand it well enough to begin to build, a business and marketing message around it, and that they have a willingness to invest in solving the problem. But test. Okay, you're always going to be testing. And this is another little small business thing that you don't always, that people don't always talk about, but that is you're always having to test and refine, test and refine, test and refine. That's kind of a marketing mantra for any of us who've been in marketing for any period of time. It's always about testing and refining. It's the same way with this stuff. So that's the end of today's Straight Talk Tuesday. I'll be back here again next Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, or I'm sorry, 9:30 a.m. Mountain Time. That's 11:30 a.m. Eastern for another Straight Talk Tuesday. I want to thank Joanna for today's topic. I hope that you get a chance to watch this, Joanna. And if anybody else has specific things that you'd like me to talk about in a Straight Talk Tuesday related to the strategy of growing your small business, pop me a message in the comments below and I'll answer them, because I really love to make sure that what I'm talking about is the stuff that you want to hear about. So have a great Tuesday, and I'll see you back here next week.